Hello everyone, it is Charlotte's Pets, and today I'm going to be doing a video on, I'm just going to be making random questions and putting them in a jar and shaking them, because, like, why not? And I don't really have anybody asking me questions, so I'm going to make my own. Anyways, let's get going. Okay, so how this is going to work is I'm going to shake the jar full of questions, and then I'm going to cut the video and, like, tell us how it works and everything, and maybe show a clip of a hamster or something like that. But yeah, let's get on with the video. So I've got this hamster treat jar. And how many hamster treats should I give to my hamster? So this really depends on what kind of treat you have. If it's like something that you made homemade and it's super healthy, you can give it to your hamster every day. If it's a yogurt drop, then it would be like once a week. So the reason why is because yogurt drops have a lot of sugar in them, and it would be a lot less, it would be a lot more than a natural treat. So you could give, it just kind of depends on the treat and your, like, mind, how you think you should give your hamster. So yeah. The next one is, what's the difference between a hamster and a guinea pig? So number one, hamsters are small. Number two, guinea pigs are big. Hamsters are omnivores. Guinea pigs are herbivores. Hamsters are flat. Guinea pigs are log-shaped. Hamsters, they need to burrow. Guinea pigs need fleece to walk on. They don't really use bedding to burrow in. Hamsters, what else? Hamsters need a wheel. Guinea pigs don't. There are a lot of differences. So like it's kind of confusing how people just think that they are exactly the same, because they definitely aren't. So yeah, there's a lot of differences. So what is the best first-time hamster owner species? So now I'm gonna ramble on about the 5 domesticated species of hamster. So number one, the most popular hamster, a Syrian hamster. Syrians are like big hamsters. They're fairly gentle. They're kind of slow. Then there's the Chinese hamster. Chinese hamsters are not very popular. They have long tails, and they're a little smaller than the Syrian. And then there is a Campbell's dwarf. Campbell's dwarfs are dwarf hamsters, so they're pretty small. And then there's winter whites, who look quite similar to Campbell's dwarfs and are the same, pretty much, they look the same thing, like the same thing. And then there's Roborowski hamsters, which are dwarf hamsters that are like so small. They're the smallest species, and I think they were domesticated the latest. So, hamsters are, like, they're just like people. They all come in different, like, they come with different personalities, shapes, and sizes. So you can't really just say, hey, the Syrian hamsters are mean because mine is mean and it bit me yesterday. So there's like a lot of nice dwarf hamsters, lots of mean Syrians, lots of nice Syrians, lots of mean dwarfs. Doesn't matter. Just choose whatever. Here's Mr. Fluffbutt. His name's Prince. He was meowing at me. Yeah, weren't you? Now you're gonna be meowing at the door for Charlie. You wanna go up and you want me to pet you? I can't do that right now. He's weird. what are the best natural hamster supplies? So first I'm going to be talking about beddings, and then I'll go on to items and stuff. So the best bedding would be like a pine, not a pine, what am I talking about? Pine and cedar are super unsafe. Don't use pine and cedar. They have, they can give your hamster upper respiratory problems, and I've done part of videos talking about those. What I would recommend is aspen. Aspen looks super natural. It's really nice. And I would also mix it with a kind of a soft paper-based bedding, because then your hamster has something that they can actually burrow in. I would also recommend adding hay in between the layers, because it gives your hamster more stable burrows. The items that are the best are cork logs, grapevine wood, like kind of bendable bridges, lots of wood items, cool stuff like that. Things that are not so colorful and kind of like, I don't know, made out of twine, stuff like that. Also, like, sand baths are a natural thing, because in the wild, hamsters naturally live in sandy places, so they're going to be bathing in the sand a lot of the time. I find that dwarf hamsters are more, they roll around in their sand bath more than Syrians, because Syrians just kind of don't live in as sandy spots, and Roboroskis and dwarfs especially need a lot of sandiness because they live in sandy areas. What's the best hamster cage? Okay then. Bin cages are the best hamster cage. Okay, so, hamster cages are, like, a very controversial subject. There are, like, habit trails, there are small bird cages, critter trails, tiny tails cages. All of those are unsafe. Anything that is under the bare minimum of 450 square inches is unsafe, and it is kind of crap. So 450 square inches is the bare minimum where I live, and if it's anything lower than that, then it's definitely cruel. 450 would be like the absolute minimum without it being cruel. So my cage is 600 square inches. I have a lot of bedding in it. That's also partly what makes it a good cage, is you need to kind of make sure that it has enough room for certain things, like let's say your cage would be like super big, but it had a bunch of stuff blocking it, so you can't really add any accessories. That would be considered unsafe. So if you had a large cage with open space that you can add a bunch of toys in to cover it up, a tall enough cage for a wheel, tall enough cage for enough bedding, and other enrichment would be great for a hamster cage. That's like the ideal hamster cage. So you need to kind of make sure what's best for you. There's a lot of other options out there. There's whole videos done on the best hamster cages. So go look at those, go find some inspiration, go do whatever, blah blah blah. What? How big are hamsters? So number one, Syrians, the most popular hamster, range from 7 to 8 inches, around that, kind of like this big. Yeah, so they're the largest hamster species. They are fairly wide, but yeah, they can do lots of cool stuff. I don't know. Dwarf hamsters, or no, Chinese hamsters are, they range from 3 to 5 inches, so they're fairly small but also fairly big. They're not considered dwarfs, and they're not considered like a Syrian, I don't know. They have long tails, and they're fairly unpopular, and they have different markings, even though, like, I have only seen one kind of color of marking. Someone asked for the door open, so that's why it's open now. Oh, he's not even coming in. Okay, so the next hamster is Campbell's dwarf. They range from 2 to 3 inches, roughly. They are fairly chunky, and yeah. The next hamster is the winter white hamster, which ranges from 2 to 3 inches, same as Campbell's dwarf. And they're fairly similar to Campbell's dwarf. The last hamster, the Roborovsky Russian dwarf hamster, either Roborovsky or Russian dwarf, not both of those things. They range from 1.5 to 2 inches, so they are the smallest hamster species ever created. I don't know. And yeah. Hi, baby. Hello. Look. Who's that? Who's that? Okay, so how much bedding should I, what does that say? I have no idea. How much bedding should I put? All hamsters need about 4 to 5 inches throughout the whole cage, and 10 inches to a section. This gives your hamster more of an opportunity to burrow. I would more recommend having, like, lots of bedding throughout the whole cage, because that's the best idea, so then they have, like, every spot that they can burrow in. Having a dig box wouldn't work if it's like a tall tower with a bunch of bedding and minimal bedding throughout the whole cage. That's not gonna work, because hamsters only burrow when there's a lot of bedding everywhere and it's padded down, and there's hideouts going in and food going in and bedding everywhere, and yeah. How big should my hamster's cage be? A hamster cage should be no less than 450 square inches. Bare minimums range around, like, where you live. So, like, if I lived in Germany, then the bare minimum would be 700 square inches. Here, it's 450. And, you need to make sure that your cage suits your hamster. So if you had, like, a hamster, like a smaller one, not saying that smaller hamsters don't need big cages, but I tend to think that Syrians are more picky, and then dwarf hamsters would be fine in, like, a 600 square inches, a 600 square inch cage. Syrians tend to be more picky, so I would recommend going 800 to 1,000. With hamsters, bigger the better. Like, if you could have, like, a 3,000 square inch cage, then that would be amazing. Your hamster would be the happiest hamster in the world. But if you can only go 600, then that's fine, as long as your hamster is happy and as long as they aren't showing any stress signs. We've got one question left, but I'm gonna shake it for the fun of it. The last question is, are hamsters herbivores? No, hamsters are omnivores. They eat proteins such as worms, chicken, like cooked lean chicken with no seasonings, some even beef, I'm pretty sure, but they will not eat bacon or any piggy, like fatty thing. They will eat any lean meat like that. They also enjoy nuts and grains, and they love fruits and vegetables, so make sure to give your hamster a variety of food and all of their protein and everything. They need a lot of protein to run around, so yeah. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.